Hi, welcome to my channel and thank you so much for joining. My name is Megan and my hope with this channel is to show you the ins and outs of daily life as a wheelchair user, inspire you to live a full, active, healthy life, and maybe even teach you some tips and tricks along the way. I am classified as a T4 Asia A complete paraplegic. I live and enjoy life independently and use productivity hacks along the way to keep me organized and sane. I thought I would start out by telling you the story of my accident and how I got to be where I am today. In the future, I hope to share weekly vlogs, cooking healthy meals, planning my months, weeks, and workouts that I have come up with. I am passionate about living a healthy lifestyle with balance and helping others with spinal cord injuries live a full, healthy, happy life. So I was in a motorcycle accident July 12th, 2007, and I'll always remember that day. I just finished the last class of my 4th course in my master's degree. I don't exactly remember what that course was, but I was studying special education to become a certified intervention specialist in the mild moderate area. The year before, I had earned my bachelor's degree in middle grades education, which is 4th grade through 9th grade, specializing in language arts and mathematics. I know it's kind of a totally weird combination with words and numbers together, but what can I say? That's who I am. But anyway, I finished up my last course and I headed to a very small town about a half hour from where I lived. If you blinked driving through it, you'd miss it. I was headed there to meet my fiance at the time at his parents' house. He was planning on changing the oil in his truck and I was just gonna putz around on his old motorcycle, learning how to ride. I had ridden a dirt bike before, and I knew how to shift gears, so we just kind of figured it would be easy for me and there wouldn't really be an issue. His way of teaching me was telling me to get on the bike, saying, here's the clutch, here's the gas, here's how to shift, here's how to brake. Go for it. I was 23 at the time, so I didn't know. I kind of thought that I was invincible. I was kind of still at that age that I didn't think anything could hurt me or would hurt me. So after starting the bike, I ended up popping the clutch, kept gassing, and it just took off. I blacked out pretty quickly in the process. Apparently became like really close to a clothesline. The bike ended up hitting a couple of trees, which threw me off of the bike. My body hit another tree and I ended up down a ravine. Obviously, my fiance at the time called 911 right away, and they got there as quick as they could. Lucky for me, a small department was relatively close to his parents' house. So after EMS got there and saw how much of a mess I was, they called for life flight immediately. They then carefully climbed down that ravine, put me on the gurney, and decided that the safest way to take me up the hill was to create an assembly line. It was just way too steep to kind of do it any other way. So after being life flighted, I decided to make the ICU my home for the next 32 days. I sustained a lot of injuries in the accident, more than just completely severing my spinal cord. I had a ruptured spleen, some broken ribs, a broken clavicle and scapula in my left shoulder. I developed 2 bouts of pneumonia while I was in there, which then collapsed my lungs. I wasn't breathing on my own for a while, but basically I shouldn't have made it out alive with all of these complications, but here I am. And I think that's why I'm so passionate about helping others live a full life. I had such a hard time breathing on my own that the doctors decided that a tracheotomy would help me breathe again on my own. And let me tell you what, that was one of the best decisions I could have made, or that we could have made for my recovery. Within 2 weeks of that procedure, I was on my way to the inpatient rehab program, where I would spend the next 6 weeks learning how to do everything over again in a new way from the seated position. The team in the inpatient program was amazing, and with their care and support, along with my family members and friends, I knew that I was going to be just fine. I just would do everything from a seated position at this point. So eventually I got to go home, right? I went back with my parents, and we kind of started to figure out a new routine and a new normal to our lives. It was not easy, but my mom was absolutely critical for me at this point. She was the one that kind of woke up in the middle of the night to help me do position changes. She kind of was basically my caretaker while I still learned how to take care of myself. I continued to make progress at home, and eventually I was back to being pretty much independent, all on my own. So 2 months after my discharge from the rehab program, I guess I couldn't sit still anymore. I was being interviewed by a local newspaper when a job opportunity came to light. The journalist interviewing me only worked for the paper part-time, and full-time he was a teacher for the school system in the city that I lived, on the campus of a residential treatment facility for boys. There was an open part-time position as a math coach or small group instructor. And since I had my degree in that, I decided it was a good starting point for me. It was only 5.5 hours a day instead of the 6 hours, 5 days a week. And I was in the classroom of another teacher. So I kind of got to learn how my teaching style would be as I was still getting used to my new life. And ultimately, I was hired into this position after I interviewed. I would continue. It didn't come without struggle, though. I had to basically go out of my way to prove that I am able to do things for myself, and that because I was in a wheelchair wouldn't be an issue teaching. I know that happens a lot. I think my case was easier than a lot of other people go through, but I obviously was grateful for that opportunity, and I would actually continue to work at this school for the next 10 years. Like I said, I started as a part-time small group instructor or a math coach, and then I was moved into my own room that could only fit like 3 or 4 kids. And then eventually I was hired in as a full-time intervention specialist or a special ed teacher. I would teach mostly algebra, but depending on the clientele that we had, I would occasionally teach some pre-algebra, some geometry, and an English class or a writing class here and there. And I really enjoyed my time here. And you know that master's degree that I started before the accident? About a year later, I went back, a year after my accident, I went back and to continue that degree. And a couple years later, I finished it and I earned my degree. Throughout the 10 years that I was a teacher, I was able to accomplish so many life goals, big ones, small ones, and all the way in between. I started driving again. I earned that master's degree. I moved out of my parents' house and into my own apartment. I got married, and then we got divorced a year later. And I lived on my own ever since he left. I bought my house 3 years after my injury and lived there for 8 years before moving into this place that I'm currently in. I learned to transfer without a transfer board. I became really good at unloading and loading my chair and myself from my car. I couldn't sit still, so why would I stay in the house? And I learned that not only was working out possible, it was very enjoyable, and it pushed me to discover different things about myself. I became involved in United Spinal Association. We have a Northeast Ohio chapter where I live, and after many years, I am the president of that chapter. But because of that group, I have made so many great friends along the way. It was a place of inclusion, a place to feel part of a community. Being involved in this group reassured me that what I was going through, what I was thinking, feeling, it was all completely normal, and I was not alone. And I hope that this channel can be somewhat of a place, a community like what I felt, because we are not alone. There are so many of us thinking, feeling, going through same things, or at least similar things, that I want this to be a community to where we can share and learn from each other. And I'm really looking forward to building that. When I was injured, Facebook wasn't really a thing yet. I think you had to have a college email in order to create an account. So I didn't have any wheelchair friends in my local community. So this group was like essential to my recovery. It also allowed me to experience different events and have opportunities that I never thought I would do. I've now been to Washington, D.C. for 3 different times, advocating with our congressional leaders for disability rights and inclusion for our community. I've been to Orlando and Las Vegas for chapter leadership meetings where I've met individuals with spinal cord injuries and disease from all over the country trying to accomplish the same thing that we are doing here in the local chapter. It's just so inspiring to be around all of those people, and it really, really motivates me. And then just recently, I was named the Great Lakes Regional Chapter Coordinator, which is a huge honor, and I'm very humbled that they thought of me for this position. Other things that I've done, I've learned how to kayak and how to adapt a kayak to fit my balance needs from the lack of trunk control that I have with an adaptive paddling workshop through the American Canoe Association. I've taken this course like 7 or 8 times, I think, because it was such a great time in each class, and I've met so many awesome people. I've been to Pittsburgh because of this class, paddling on the 3 rivers in the downtown Pittsburgh area. And now I have some friends in my local community that have adaptive kayaking equipment, and I can go out on the water at least once a week if I wanted to. It is truly amazing for me. I love water, and it's such a calming, relaxing place for me. The place that I moved into has a lake view of Lake Erie, and I will give you a house tour in a future video, and I will show you my view. And I just was so in love with that view that I downsized like half of my living space from the house that I was in before moving here, just because I wanted that view. It is so therapeutic for me. My self-care it's part of my self-care. Being out on my balcony and journaling and just staring at the water, watching all of the boats. I keep looking over at my view. But anyway, because of all of these experiences, and I'm sure I'm missing out a lot more. 12 years is a long time at the time of this recording. But because of all of those experiences, I have grown so passionate about helping other wheelchair users, specifically spinal cord injuries, since that's what I know. And about 2.5, maybe about 3 years ago at this point, I had started a blog called the Wheel Life Blog, and I'll put the website link below. Sign up for my email list. You get a couple of free downloads. One is a SMART Goals template. Teaches you how to create smart measurable goals. And then the other is a packing list. So if you are planning on traveling anytime soon and you have a physical disability, or you are a wheelchair user, or you just want to be a little more organized, the packing list would definitely help you. But the goal of the Wheel Life blog is to inspire others to get out into their community and live a happy, healthy, fulfilled life. And this is what's leading me to start this YouTube channel. I write blogs about different experiences that I have when I travel, what goes wrong, what goes right, how to keep a positive mindset through it all, any productivity hacks that I use, and some goal setting. Without a plan and a structure, goals cannot be achieved, and you have to be able to monitor your progress in order to evaluate and reflect on where you want to go. I did create an ebook. It's called The Ultimate Goal Setting Guide. I will put a link in the description below for that as well if you are interested. It teaches you step by step the process that I use every single month to assess your key priorities of life, to know which one you want to focus on, writing 10 goals, and then writing your ultimate goal for the next 90 days. And then you take a personal inventory of what you need to do or what you need to stop doing in your life to reach those goals. I kind of designed this process by taking different parts of other processes that I've learned throughout the years and that have experienced or experimented with. I feel like this is the process that it's dramatically improved my life. I am positive it can help you and reach whatever goals you want. You are never too young and never too old to goal plan and to go for your dream, whatever that may be. Another part of my blog is health and fitness. Throughout the years, I have struggled with my weight and with being healthy. I'm not exactly where I want to be at this point, but I know, especially with my goal setting plan and process, I know I'll get there. So I also write blogs about healthy eating and the workouts that I'm doing, and how it's so important to keep moving on a daily basis, and figuring out the nutrition that works best for you. Each person is different, so we got to learn the science, trust the process, and just experiment with what works. So I hope to do some like grocery hauls and some meal prepping videos as well, to show you what I'm doing to help you maybe find other things that you haven't thought of, or different recipes that would help you reach your goals if that is part of your goals. I do something that's, or I am part of something that's called the 131 method. I am an affiliate for that method, and I will put the link in the description if you're interested. It teaches you all the science behind nutrition. It teaches you diet phasing and why it works for bodies. It teaches you different fasting protocols if that's something that you're interested in. It's not right for everybody, and you should definitely, figure out if it is right for you. But they describe that, and they break down all of the science behind it. Behind why our bodies might be doing something, why we might be holding on to inflammation, what causes inflammation, what is inflammation. Anyway, I will do another video, kind of just a short clip or a short video kind of describing that in a little more detail. But if you want to learn more now, the link is in the description, and full transparency, it is an affiliate link. I was really active before my accident, so it kind of only makes sense that I stay active after my accident. I have coached able-bodied lacrosse from a wheelchair. I have coached cheerleading from a wheelchair because I love to do those things before my injury. So, I mean, I loved it before. I wanted to find my new normal, so I went back to what I thought my normal was. I coached, after my accident, one of the years that I was coaching lacrosse, the elementary girls team that I had went undefeated for the first time in club history. Those girls were amazing. I still keep track of them. Hi, if anybody's watching, you know who you are, and my cheerleaders as well. I loved all of the girls that I coached, both lacrosse and cheerleading. They will always be a part of my heart, but after a couple of years coaching post-injury, I knew that I needed to focus on more adaptive things and kind of let go of my old life. I was a new person, I was evolving, and that's kind of ultimately why I stopped coaching. But I'm a teacher at heart, and even though I'm not currently teaching anymore, I am now working in research with other spinal cord injuries. I am still a teacher at heart, and I think that's why I want to put out the best content that I can. It's why I'm creating this channel, why I created my blog, why I'm the president of our local United Spinal Association chapter. It's why I do pretty much everything that I do in my life. And staying active is what I do best. And it's what's best for my mindset. The more that I'm on the couch binge watching Netflix, like on a weekend or a weeknight, the less positive I feel. And to help me stay on track, I use a bullet journal to keep myself organized. I write down a statement of gratitude every single morning. Science has proved that if you show gratitude on a daily basis, it's linked to happier, more successful lifestyles. So why wouldn't you want to try that? It takes 2.5 seconds to write down something that you're grateful for. But, whew, man, how is that for an introduction? If you've made it this far and you're still watching, thank you so much. If you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button. Please leave a comment about your favorite part or what a topic that you want to see in a future video, or just something that you've gotten out of this video. I'm always looking for ideas. I'm always looking for input. And let's just keep those happy thoughts, productivity, and self-care going. Until next time, live honestly, passionately, and with kindness.